And Thoran வந்து என்ன ஸ்பெஷாலிட்டினா ராம் I read a couple of the stories that he had written.
Oh, very nice.
இந்த கதைகள் வந்து நிறைய பசங்க வந்து கதையெல்லாம் எழுதுறேன்னு சொல்லிட்டு எழுதுவாங்க. But you can make out that it's a kid. But in his case, when I read the story, it was like a professional author who had written, like நான் ஸ்கூல் படிக்கும்போது நான் டீடைல்லாம் படிக்கும்போது ஷார்ட் ஸ்டோரிஸ்லாம் வரும்.
Right, Charles Dickens stories.
அந்த மாதிரி ஸ்டோரி படிக்கிற மாதிரி ஒரு ஃபீலிங். He actually transformed me to the actual situation that he was talking about in the story.
Beautiful.
And I when I was reading it, I was at work. And I went online and started reading it. And I forgot that I was at work.
Wow.
I went to that location. So அந்த மாதிரி ஒரு தத்ரூபமா ஒரு thought process வந்து seamless-ஆ அப்படியே மைண்ட்ல யோசிச்சு அதை அப்படியே converting it into words, translating it into words,
and transporting the audience, the readers to where.
Taking the reader along with you. It's a great talent, and immediately I felt that we need to have this kid on our radio show to talk to our listeners. So Thoran, welcome to Southern Spice. Very glad to have you in the radio.
Hi, thank you for having me.
Great. So where do you study, Thoran? Which school do you go to?
Rutgers Prep.
Rutgers Prep in Piscataway?
No, Somerset.
Somerset. Okay. And you're in the 9th grade?
Yes.
So, are you able to hear yourself well?
Yeah.
You good? Okay. So, we are very happy to have you here. So, let's start with this. When did you actually start writing stories?
I started in the 6th grade when my English teacher would give us assignments weekly, and I would have to write for her.
Okay, so the 6th grade you started writing stories, and at that point your teacher used to tell you what story to write, right?
Yes.
So, and then at some point, when did you start thinking of topics yourself and start writing?
Well, in the 9th grade, my English teacher kind of he made us do more writing. Instead of weekly, it's daily. And sometimes he gives us a list of topics to choose from. Sometimes I make up my own with personal narratives.
So, what are the range of topics that you've written stories on?
I do personal narratives, fiction, non-fiction, reviews of books, anything really.
Thoran, this is all too fast for me. So, I mean, I just want to slow down a little bit, right? So, you said 6th grade, you started writing stuff because your English teacher asked you to write. And then 9th grade was the first time you actually realized you truly have a talent to write stories? Or was that apparent to you even in your 6th and 7th grades?
I never thought of myself much as a writer before 9th grade.
Okay.
I didn't write as much as I did now.
Okay. And then, did you realize yourself that you're actually writing well, or were the readers suggesting to you that you're really writing well and that's why you need to take it to the next level?
It was more of readers from my school and people that I know would always tell me, "Oh, you're so good at writing." And I thought, I'm not.
Okay, so that's how it started, right? And so how did you decide to take this to the levels where you almost published your stories and stuff like that, right? And where have they appeared? Online or in other books?
I've submitted a lot online, and I submitted some in the mail to various magazines.
Okay.
And I'm waiting approval.
Okay, great.
So, let's say, so far in the last 3 years, how many stories have you written?
In the last 3 years, should be well over 120.
Wow. 120 stories. So, let's say, whenever you think of something, do you just start jotting down the notes, or do you just go, close yourself in a room and seclude yourself and write it from beginning to end in one shot?
If I have a special idea that I really don't want to forget, I'd take out my phone or pad or something and write it down. But usually, I get a lot of my inspiration just staring at the piece of paper and just thinking, what could I write here?
Right. And so you remember incidents, situations that happened in your childhood, in your past or present, and then just put it to the form of a story?
Me and my friends have a lot of misadventures. We always mess up stuff. So I use a lot of that and make a little comic kind of story.
So one particular story that I liked really was the one that You wrote about going with your friends to the woods, and it was a very interesting and intriguing story, and it had a lot of depth, so to say. So, tell me about that story. Was it a real incident that happened that you guys experienced?
Yes, so I went to my friend's house and they asked me about this secret spot in the woods. I said no. So they took me into this clearing in the middle of the woods. It was about half a mile down the road, and it was beautiful. There was a small river, and there were trees because it was in the fall, and it was orange leaves and red leaves. It looked really beautiful. Everything was quiet, and you could actually hear yourself think.
So that's when that scenery and that situation really stayed in your mind, and then you came back and wrote about it. You wrote that story.
I actually wrote some of it at his house. I felt so moved by it.
Okay. And the other story that I remember was the snow day. That the school was off, and your mom didn't tell you.
Yes, that was in I think the second or third grade, and she took. It felt like a normal school day. There was only about half an inch of snow on the ground. So I got up, took a shower, got ready, ate my breakfast, and then my mom tells me that I have no school.
But you already got. After that, what happened?
So I was kind of surprised and happy at the same time.
Right.
I was slightly angry. I had to wake up early.
And you wouldn't have bathed otherwise. That's
Probably
what I
not.
used to.
But you got to go out and play in the snow, and you spent like a good amount of time there, right?
Yep.
That was a good thing. But I mean, these are very interesting. While we talk about it, it doesn't bring out the actual
the depth in the story.
But the story, when you read it, why don't you go ahead and give our listeners the website address where they can actually go and read your stories?
You can go on www.teeninc.com and you can search my name, T. Gundala, and you should get a list of
T Gundala. Let me spell that. That's T for.
But the website itself, www. What did you say?
Teen Inc.
Teen Inc.
Oh, okay. Teen and Ink together.
INK.
Okay.